New Jersey has a lot of good things going for it, including beautiful beaches, wild casinos, and many stunning parks. But perhaps you're looking for something else, something a little more dark and mysterious to explore? Fear not, because just like neighboring Pennsylvania, New Jersey has its own share of scary tales that will make you want to leave your light on at night. Today, we will look at 10 of the many eerie urban legends the Garden State has to offer. Off Paulson Avenue, behind the old Black Prince Distillery building, is a storm drain known as the Gates of Hell. Through the years, the drainage system has earned its eerie reputation for paranormal happenings, including shadow figures seen running at abnormal speeds and dark rituals that have been performed within the tunnels. With many openings to the maze of drainage tunnels, it is easy to get lost and never find the openings to Satan's lair. The one you are looking for is found in a wooded area down the hill from a railroad line. The dry, square-shaped entrance marks the start of the Gates of Hell. Through this entrance, you can access a network of tunnels, including a secret room, the last room, before entering hell itself. Locals have many stories telling of people who have entered these tunnels, never returning. According to legends, you must pass through hundreds of feet of underground tunnels, layered 7 times, just like the circles of hell. The tunnels are reported to be littered with ritual remains, bones, decaying carcasses, crosses, and occult graffiti. Regardless of the legends, the seemingly dry tunnel can be very dangerous on its own. The storm drain can suddenly fill with water from the Weasel Brook stream that it provides runoff drainage for. The oldest, most enduring legend to come from the Garden State is the tale of the Jersey Devil. In Leeds Point in the Pine Barrens, a local woman known as Mother Leeds found herself pregnant with her 13th child. In frustration of learning of the pregnancy, she raised both of her hands to the heaven and proclaimed, "Let this one be the devil." A few months later, on a dark, stormy night, Mother Leeds went into labor. While the local midwives gathered to help with the delivery, Mr. Leeds and 12 children waited in the next room. The birth went well, and a normal baby boy was born. Within minutes of the birth, Mother Leeds' unholy wish came to pass. The infant started changing right before her eyes. Within moments, the newborn had transformed into a hideous creature unlike anything the world had ever seen. The infant's cries grew louder, horns sprouted from his head, and talon-like claws tore through the tips of his fingers. Then, leathery bat wings sprouted from his back, and hair and feathers grew all over his body. The eyes started to glow red, growing larger. Suddenly, the creature attacked its mother, killing her, then turning to the midwives in the room. It flew at them, wailing its unearthly shrieks while clawing and biting, tearing the midwives, maiming some and killing others. The monster knocked down the door and attacked the father and siblings, killing as many as he could before flying up the chimney, escaping into the desolation of the Pine Barrens. To this day, the horrifying creature known as Leeds Devil or Jersey Devil claims the Pine Barrens as its own, terrorizing anyone unfortunate enough to encounter it. During the 18th and 19th century, the Jersey Devil was seen many times throughout the region, frightening locals. Unearthly wails were often reported come from the dark forest and swampy bogs, as well as the unexplainable slaughter of many domesticated animals, which has all been attributed to the beast. Numerous sightings of the Jersey Devil continue to be reported still today. People have reported finding strange, unidentifiable tracks in the soil, with some of the prints they're saying are from a strange bird, and others say they resemble hoof prints of something walking on two legs. Occasionally, people report seeing more than footprints. Some have reported seeing the beast itself and described it as having a body of a kangaroo, the head of a dog, the face of a horse, large leathery wings, antlers similar to a deer, and a forked reptilian tail and intimidating claws. The legend of the Jersey Devil has been embraced by all New Jersey and is commercialized today. The devil is portrayed in toys, t-shirts, and even has its own featured film. Most famously, the Jersey Devil has lent its name to the New Jersey NHL hockey team. Shades of Death Road is an ominous, twisty stretch of road that is home to many ghost stories and legends. Since its creation in the 1800s, unnatural forces have taken hold of those who travel it, leaving bone-chilling experiences to all that pass. The southern half of the road contains plenty of natural shade, which provided hiding places for highwaymen and bandits in the early days. They would lay in wait in the shadows for their victims, often cutting their throats and robbing them. One reported murder was of Bill Cummins, who was robbed, killed, and buried in a mud pile, his murder never solved. Those highwaymen that were caught throughout the years were often lynched on the spot by the townspeople and left to hang in the trees that covered the road. Since then, there have been many reports of shadow figures seen in the trees. Their presence is known by a thick fog that will suddenly form, and the dark apparitions will appear and disappear constantly. Some of them have been known to follow unlucky visitors home, usually attaching themselves to bullies, sending lessons to those who harm others, as the ghosts did in their previous life. The ghosts of the highwaymen are not the only things reported along Shades of Death Road. Throughout the years, large black cats have been reported, with many claiming they are shifter hybrids or humans that transform into beasts. Nearby Bear Swamp is known as Cat's Hollow or Cat Swamp because of the packs of vicious werecats that live in the area, often attacking travelers along the road. A mile down the road is a one-lane, unpaved road that leads to a farmhouse. Along this road is a small cabin. Visitors to this cabin have reported various strange supernatural activity. Just off Shades of Death Road is a body of water, unofficially called Ghost Lake. Sometime in the early 20th century, two men dammed the creek in the valley, creating the lake. Legends say that the lake grew in size, and so did the paranormal activity. The two men began to constantly be haunted by the Native American spirits who once lived there. It is said that the Indian burial grounds is located at the center of the lake. Today, Ghost Lake has become one of the greatest paranormal New Jersey attractions. Visitors to the area say the lake reveals many spirits. Legends say that in the middle of the lake there is an endless pit of dark, a hole in time that will suck anyone who swims in the lake. The calm waters have claimed many lives through the years. In the right corner of Ghost Lake is a cave that was once used by the Lenape tribe. In the early 1900s, archaeologists found broken pottery, tools, and carvings inside the cave. It is believed the cave was used by native hunters and travelers before the existence of Ghost Lake, where the tribal burial grounds once existed. Now the lake and the spirits haunt all those who visit. Shades of Death Road was home to disease-spreading mosquitoes in the mid-1800s. It is said they caused an outbreak of malaria, resulting in high mortality rate due to the remoteness of the area from proper medical treatment. In 1884, the state had the swamps drained, ending the threat. Today, Shades of Death Road is considered one of the most famous paranormal destinations in America. If you visit, beware of unknown harms because this place is mostly desolate. It is advised not to visit after dark alone. Near Bernards Township, in an open field, sits an old oak tree that legends say is cursed with the souls of the many people who have died in its branches. Around the trunk is a chain link fence to prevent people from marking the tree, although there are many cuts in the bark from those tempting fate. Some of the cuts are deep, yet no one has succeeded in cutting it down, and the tree is still growing strong. Legends say anyone who attempts to cut down the tree will be cursed with injury or death by car accident. Many have claimed a black pickup truck driven by a demon or the devil himself will appear out of nowhere and chase those who dare defile the tree. The history of the Devil's Tree begins when Bernards Township had a large number of KKK members who would often lynch many members of the African American community here, using the branches for their horrific deed. In those days, the tree was more secluded, and the bodies were not cut down right away, but left to swing in the breeze for a while, until police were informed or a kind passerby set to work. There have also been several suicides that have taken place in the tree, including a man who murdered his family before hanging himself. Psychics that have visited the Devil's Tree believe there is a dark energy from the events that have given the tree its curse. The hanging branch that grew horizontally from the tree has recently been removed in an effort to lessen people trespassing onto the field. Some of the people who have dared climb the tree report hearing sounds as if people are trying to scratch their way from inside. Those who have taken a piece of the bark have reported waking up in the middle of the night seeing an old man standing at the foot of their bed, as well as many other shadow figures. Some have claimed their hands have turned black for a while before returning to normal. The township planned to develop the land, which would have required the removal of the tree, but decided to protect it instead. In 2007, they posted a sign at the site stating when the area is open to public. A chain link fence was also put around the Devil's Tree to help prevent any more vandalism. Or maybe it was to protect the people visiting. Clifton Road in Passaic County is a long 10-mile desolated stretch of road with many legends attached to it. One of the most well-known is the ghost of a boy at Dead Man's Curve. According to legends, if you place a quarter on the yellow line, it will be returned to you at midnight by a boy who drowned under the bridge. Another story says the coins tossed into the water will be thrown back and the boy's reflection will be seen on the water's surface. In other stories, the boy is not interested in coins, but is looking to save your life. He has been reported to push you off the bridge to save you from being hit by a car like he was. There are also legends of phantom vehicles that will mysteriously appear and chase people the entire length of Clinton Road before vanishing just as mysteriously as it appeared. Sometimes it's just floating headlights reported to be seen. When a vehicle is seen, it is most often reported to be a Camaro with a girl driving. According to legends, in 1988, a teenage girl died after crashing her Camaro along Clinton Road. Any mention of her while driving the road at night will trigger the violent specter that will chase your vehicle before crashing into the trees and disappearing. Just east of Clinton Road is a stone structure known as the Druid Temple. According to legends, rituals and sacrifices were conducted here. It is actually an old iron smelter that was built in 1825. It is currently posted no trespassing with a fence surrounding it. Today, reports continue of strange people having ceremonies around it. Clinton Road is also said to be home to a variety of strange animals. Some are reported to be hellhounds, wolves related to skinwalkers, and a dog that floats instead of running. The existence of these creatures is reported to be from heavy concentrations of dark magic and Satan worship in the area. There are also some animals that are normally not found in New Jersey, but they are not supernatural either. There have been reports of monkeys and other strange hybrid animals living in the woods that many believe are left over from a jungle habitat attraction near Clinton Road that closed in 1976. Cross Castle near Clinton Road was built in 1905 by Richard Cross for his wife and 3 children. There are no strange reports from the castle until after he died in 1917 and the city of Newark bought it. Most of the building's wooden structure was destroyed in a fire, but the stone walls remain. Soon, the place became a party spot for teens, and that is when the reports of satanic symbols and rituals began. People have reported having seizures while in the buildings, found unexplainable bruises on their body, or had strange visions after leaving the area. In 1988, the city of Newark knocked down the remaining walls, but the foundation still remains. One of the most believable legends from Clinton Road is that hitmen used the woods as dumping grounds for their victims. In May 1983, vultures were spotted alongside the road. When it was investigated, a human body was found and identified as Daniel Deppner, a local car thief involved with the mafia in New York. An autopsy determined foul play and found some strange things in his body, ice crystals in the blood vessels near his heart. Also, his internal organs were decayed faster than his skin. It was determined that he was frozen for a while in his death to confuse investigators. The murder investigation led authorities to the notorious hitman Richard Kalinsky, aka the Iceman, who did confess to killing Deppner after his arrest in 1986. At the turn of the century, Manuel Rionda and Harriet owned the Rio Vista. To prove his love for his wife, Manuel had a tower erected for her with incredible views of town as well as New York City skyline. Harriet suspected her husband was unfaithful for her, but it wasn't until one night while up in the tower her fear came to a reality. Seeing her husband with another woman devastated her, and she jumped from the highest window. A few hours later, Manuel discovered his wife's broken body at the foot of the tower. It wasn't long and Manuel started to notice that the tower seemed off. Whenever he visited, he would hear footsteps and other unexplainable noises throughout the halls. Sometimes he even swore he heard his wife's sobs and agonizing screams. Other times he swore he was pushed by something cold, angry, and unseen, and quickly started to believe the unexplainable happenings was his wife haunting him. Within a few years, Manuel decided to close the tower. He also had the elevator removed and filled the adjoining tunnels to keep people away. But that didn't stop them. People who did visit it reported hearing strange noises coming from the tower, with some reporting smelling unexplainable perfume. It was during this time that people started referring to it as the Devil's Tower, saying it was clearly cursed by a woman whose scorn was greater than Satan's. After Manuel's death in the 1950s, the town decided to have the abandoned tower demolished. Several construction workers in charge of the demolition of the cursed tower either fell or were pushed to their death, and the project was soon abandoned. After the project was canceled, people continued to visit the tower and reported hearing Harriet's screams. Others have reported being pushed or shoved by someone unseen. Apparitions darting in and out of the main gate have also been reported. During the 1980s, rumors started that Satanists were using the tower for the dark masses and rituals. According to legends, if you walk or drive backwards around the tower 6 times, the ghost of Harriet Rayonda will appear. Trenton Psychiatric Hospital, originally known as New Jersey State Lunatic Asylum, opened its doors on May 15, 1848, welcoming 86 patients. The first superintendent was Horace Bootloff, a good man that provided excellent care for the patients. Then, Dr. Henry Cotton took over the position in 1907, and the horrors began. Cotton believed that infections caused mental illness and tested his theories by removing patients' teeth, limbs, or any other body part with the slightest sign of infections. Antibiotics weren't used, and most of the patients died from post-surgical infections. Cotton continued this until 1924, when he was put on review by a peer board. In 1925, the New Jersey State Senate held an investigation and found that Cotton provided cutting-edge treatments and approved his work. Cotton continued to kill his patients until 1930, when he retired, but the hospital staff continued to follow his practice. Today, it is believed the hospital is haunted by Dr. Cotton's patients, who died, with the most famous spirit being Dr. Cotton himself. His spirit has been reported to be seen wearing a white lab coat, walking the corridor outside of his old office. Most commonly reported is the sound of disembodied voices, muffled screams, and moans from distant rooms. Other reports include orbs throughout the day or night, that appear blue in color, and the apparitions of patients with arms and legs missing in various rooms that disappear when someone enters. Many people today are unaware of the role New Jersey had in the lives of many pirate legends in the late 17th and early 18th century. The waters between Sandy Hook and New York were infested with pirates and French privateers. Blackbeard was known to raid farms and villages near Middletown, and Captain Morgan was also known to visit the area often. Captain Kidd was also one such pirate. Captain Kidd was a resident of New York City in 1695 and a captain of a privateer ship, which is a government-sanctioned ship used for piracy against ships of enemy countries, when he sailed for England in search of a commission in the Royal Navy. Failing to gain command in the Navy, Kidd was persuaded by political associates to seek a privateering license. He was granted a license by the king to seize and capture French and pirate ships and split the booty with the crown and his backers. On his way back to New York, on his new ship, much of the crew was impressed by the British Navy warships, and he was forced to recruit a new crew, promising to pay them 60% more than he expected to pay. The problem was, he also promised his backers 60%. When Kidd arrived in the Red Sea, he quickly forgot his primary mission and ignored the many pirates he encountered, even docking at some of the same ports, not attempting to apprehend them, like his license dictated. Although he did attack French ships, the crew quickly grew tired of allowing other rich ships to pass and attempted mutiny. During the revolt, Kidd killed gunner William Moore by hitting him on the head with a bucket. The crew backed down, but the incident had changed Kidd. He officially became a pirate and attacked any ship, no matter the nationality. Kidd made his name in pirate lore with the capture of the Quetta merchant traveling with silk, guns, spices, and gold. He split some of the booty with the crew and set sail for the Caribbean on the Indian vessel. When he arrived, he learned that he was wanted by the British Crown for piracy. On a newly purchased sloop, he headed for Boston to take care of his pirate problem. On his way, Captain Kidd stopped at various locations in New Jersey, finally dropping anchor at the Royalton Bay and sending landing parties to shore in both New Jersey and New York to fix the pirate problem with bribes, which was common practice at the time. After bribing the appropriate people and hiding some of the treasure, Kidd set sail for Boston. When he arrived, he was arrested by the new, more honest governor. At the time of his arrest, Kidd claimed to have hidden 40,000 pounds of treasure, but there are rumors that it was more like 400,000 pounds. Only 10,000 pounds was recovered and sent back to England with Kidd to be tried. Captain Kidd was given a quick trial in Admiralty Court with limited evidence and some of the evidence suppressed by prosecution. He was found guilty of murder of William Moore and of piracy and sentenced to hang for his crimes. After the hanging, Kidd's body was covered with tar, bound in chains, and hung over the Thames River in London, where it remained for years until it finally rotted away completely. Soon after Kidd's arrest, 20,000 pounds was dug up on Gardiner's Island off the coast of Long Island, New York. The findings of the treasure, along with Kidd's assistance of fabulous treasure hidden elsewhere, began the never-ending search for the legendary treasure of Captain Kidd. Although many places in New Jersey claim to be the site of Captain Kidd's hidden treasure, only 4 have strong enough claims. One is Cape May, where many pirates and other ships came for fresh water. Another possibility is an island at the mouth of Tom's River, which was known to provide protection from the ocean elements. The third is Sandy Hook, near where Kidd anchored on his final voyage. The fourth, and probably the most famous site, is just north of Sandy Hook, near Wales Creek. Just off the shoreline was once a small island where some 17th century Spanish gold coins were found. The island became known as Money Island and has since disappeared under the eroding waters. Just inland is a small body of water called Duck Pond. Today it is known as Treasure Lake, where many more gold coins have been found. On May 6, 1937, the Hindenburg disaster took place when the German passenger airship caught fire while attempting to dock at Lakehurst Naval Air Station. Of the 97 people on board, there were 35 fatalities and one ground crewman that died from his injuries received during the accident. The entire disaster was caught on film and broadcasted the next day. Most of the injured passengers were transported to the base hospital, but the 36 fatalities were placed in nearby Hangar 1. Today, the smell of burnt flesh is still reported there. Lakehurst is still an active naval base, and over the years since the tragedy, many of the employees claim they can still feel the presence of those who perished. Workers here have reported lights flashing on and off with no explanations, footsteps, doors rattling, and loud, unexplainable crashes. Absecon Lighthouse in Atlantic City was constructed in the 1850s and is the state's tallest lighthouse that still stands today at 117 feet tall. Also referred to as Old Abbey, it is also the third tallest masonry lighthouse in the nation, still proudly displaying its original Vesnal lens, which was a great invention at the time and reflected over 20 miles out to sea. Old Abbey was built to protect the heavily used treacherous Absecon Inlet, which saw many tragedies and accidents. In April of 1854, before the lighthouse was constructed, the Powhatan crashed off the coast and resulted in over 300 deaths. Because of this and many other wrecks, the inlet became known as Graveyard Inlet. Stories of spirits and other strange, unexplainable happenings have been reported from the lighthouse since the early 1900s. In 1905, the keeper at the time claimed he saw the Jersey Devil on top of the tower. Others have reported through the years of seeing spirits, smelling pipe or cigar smoke, hearing disembodied laughter, phantom footsteps, and the tower door opening and closing on its own. Visitors at night have reported seeing people dressed in Civil War-era uniforms and civilian attire at the bottom of the lighthouse, looking confused and lost.